So guys, today back from another video on the channel. Today we're here for the Newcastle United versus Manchester United Carabao Cup Round 4 preview. Newcastle United are back in the Cup. Obviously this is the reverse fixture of the final last year, and obviously we all know what happened at Wembley with Newcastle United. But different team, two different teams now, new sets of players. How can happen? Obviously it is at Old Trafford, an 8:15 kick-off on Wednesday, which is an unusual time, but it is what it is. We'll look at Manchester United, look at Newcastle, and get cracking on with the preview. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it now. So then, Manchester United. I actually am recording this on Sunday night, a couple of hours after they've just been beaten by Manchester City 3-0. No Derby Day delight for Manchester United, and have looked really poor this season, and they've all season had one convincing win, and this is Manchester United we're speaking about, a club that has won the most Premier Leagues, numerous trophies over the years, and they've fallen off massively. And honestly, is Ten Hag's job a question? I generally think if he gets beaten Newcastle, gets out the cup, and then doesn't do well in the league, they've got Fulham, and then they've got Copenhagen away, and then Luton, Everton. Well, Luton and then international break. I generally think if they don't win at least one of them games, I think you've generally got to get rid of Ten Hag. The way his aura with other clubs, it's just not nice. No other clubs going, oh, Ten Hag's a good manager and whatnot. He's a sound manager, where everyone thinks he's a knob and a prick. Like today, he went, oh, why didn't Varane and Reguilón play when you're playing a centre-back and left-back, and Johnny Evans, who isn't as good as Varane? In the Manchester derby, all he said was tactics. Like, I think you've got to really look at that. Looking at them this season, though, from the very start of the season, a game against Wolves where they shouldn't have won. You've got Tottenham away, 2-0 defeat. 2-0 down against Forest to bring it back 3-2. Got beat at Arsenal, got beat at Brighton, got beat at Man United. Scraped a 1-0 win against Burnley. They beat Crystal Palace 3-0 in the previous round of the Carabao Cup. Then lost to Crystal Palace in the league. And then lost to Galatasaray at home in the Champions League. Scraped a win against Brentford with 2 late goals in stoppage time. Scraped a win against Sheffield United away, 2-1. Very lucky to get a win against Copenhagen after a penalty save in the 95th minute, and then got beaten Manchester City 3-0. Looking at that, it is not good enough. And even if you look at their side, they start 11 for the game versus Man City. A lot of changes need to be made to Manchester United. Obviously, I know they've got a couple of players out in Martinez, Luke Shaw, Casemiro was out, but their team, Onana in goal, Dalot, Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, Lindelof. That was their defence. And honestly, their defence, even a couple of seasons ago, even last season, looked so much better than what that actually is. Their defence of Wan-Bissaka, Martinez, Varane and Shaw is so much better. Obviously I know injuries are injuries, but the cover needs to be a bit better for Manchester United standards. In the midfield, Eriksen and Amrabat. Eriksen's a good player on his day. Amrabat's not really proven himself so far. And on the higher end of the pitch, Bruno Fernandes, Scott McTominay, who's their highest goal scorer in the Premier League this season, Marcus Rashford, who's had a poor season so far with only 1 goal and 1 assist, and then Højlund up top, who still yet to get a goal or assist in the Premier League. What's happened to Man United at the minute? It just doesn't look right for them, and they'll be nice to hear because obviously they have only lost once to Newcastle at Old Trafford in the Premier League era. But yet again, it's cup competition. How can happen? Obviously I think there will be a lot of changes for the game, considering that there's Champions League next week and they've got a game against Fulham early kick-off on Saturday. They've only got Thursday, Friday, and then they've got to play early on Saturday away in London. They're going to have to make changes, otherwise they will not survive whatsoever. But against Manchester City, yes, Man City are a good team, but they absolutely played them off the park. Like, completely played them off the park. Even when Newcastle went to the Etihad, you could see Man City were always going to win the game, but you weren't sitting there going, oh my god, fucking, we absolutely got smashed. Do you know what I mean? tough one to call for Man United. Injury wise for them, it looks like Wan-Bissaka will be out, Casemiro's doubtful, Martinez will be out, Luke Shaw will be out, and Malacia will be out. I generally think if Newcastle can beat Manchester United, Ten Hag will actually not get the sack, but I think a lot of questions will be asked. Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville were clashing on Sky Sports about the Man United situation at the minute. There's always something with that club, and I think it's probably the best time for Newcastle to play them, without injuries or not. I think it's probably the best time to play Manchester United, considering the form they're in. 3 losses in the last 3 games. They've got Champions League and an early kick-off on Saturday. You've got to look at all them. You've got to look at the upcoming fixtures, especially when you're playing a team like Manchester United. So, tough one to call. Let's speak about the tune. Right then, Newcastle United, obviously. I just recorded the video before for the Wolves game. We drew 2-2. We are unbeaten in 9 games in the league. We're doing okay. Obviously, we've got that defeat against Dortmund, but our form has been very good. Obviously, I'll quickly mention it now. Brentford 1-0, 0-0 against AC Milan, 8-0 against Sheffield United, 1-0 against City in the Cup. So we've beaten Man City already this season in the Cup. I completely forgot to mention that before. So we beat Man City. If we can beat Man United, we can beat anyone in this competition. It's simple as that. Burnley 2-0, obviously that PSG game, enough said about that. 2-2 draw away against West Ham, a 4-0 win against Crystal Palace, a 1-0 defeat to Dortmund, and a 2-2 draw against Wolves. Looking at that, you can probably see away from home we look a little bit more naive than what we are at home. Obviously that Dortmund game was still disappointing to not pick up 3 points in the Champions League, but away from home we don't look as big as a threat. Obviously against Wolves we were 2-1 up, quite lucky with the penalty, but when it wasn't a penalty. It's a tough one to call. It is for Newcastle. Obviously the injuries for Newcastle going into the game. We've got obviously Isaac out for definite, Elliot Anderson will be out, Harvey Barnes will definitely be out, Jacob Murphy will definitely be out. Sven Botman, I can't see him making it, and then Lewis Miley's still got a fever, so they're the players that will be out for the game. And I do expect Newcastle to make some changes. I think we've got to make some changes, considering we've got Arsenal at home on Saturday, and then Champions League again on Tuesday. It's the games are coming thick and fast. Like, we've got Dortmund again in a couple of days' time next week. We've got games coming thick and fast, and there's no time to slow down. We've got to be there. We've got to be strong, and we've got to build completely. If we can go to Manchester United and get something, it'll be unbelievable to get round to the next round of the Cup. Obviously people will still want to beat them because of what happened at Wembley. Obviously I was there, it was a gutting day, a day that we'll probably never forget, and considering that Old Trafford is a tough place to go, Newcastle have only won once there in the Premier League era. It's such a tough one to call because you don't know what to expect into the game. I don't want to mention too much about the team. What I'm going to say is I've got my team there for the predicted team, and there will be a lot of changes for that game versus Man City in the Cup. We're seeing him make some Eddie Howe make some changes. Obviously Paul Dummett came in, Lewis Hall came in, Livramento came in, Lewis Miley started the game, a couple of players there, but I think we need this international break. Yes, we've only just came back from the international break against Crystal. We've only played 3 games since the international break is back. We need these players to come back fit, and then January is going to be massive for us. We do need to sign some players so we can compete in the Carabao Cup like this game, the Champions League. We've got the FA Cup at the start of the year. So many games coming up, and if we progress even to the Europa League or to the round of 16 of the Champions League, you've got to have that squad. And looking at the squad that we played against Wolves, it was a good team. Nick Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Shaw, Byrne, Longstaff, Bruno, Joe Linton, Almiron, Wilson, Gordon. Still a fine team. I'm quite happy if that team starts week in, week out. It was the bench, and you can see by the injuries how thin the squad is. We had 6 fullbacks on the bench and a midfielder and 2 goalkeepers. This is a club that's playing Champions League football, and no disrespect, because I know fine we can't sign players, and obviously we've had a player suspended, we've got injuries, that is absolutely fine, but we do need to sign some players and whatnot, and there will be obviously loads of talk going into January. Obviously there's no extra time for this game, which is very, very good how there's no extra time. It'll go, if it's 1-1, 0-0, if we are drawing the game, it'll go straight to penalties. And obviously, I think if it goes to penalties, I think Manchester United will probably win because it's Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? They get their way, they'll always be away at Old Trafford, and Newcastle have just got to try and be the better team. That's the end of the preview, boys. If I've got to give a prediction, it's a tough one to call. It depends what team Man United play. It depends if they're going to sit there and go all gun blazing and play their best team. I don't think they will. I think they will make some changes. I think a couple of youngsters will play for them like us. I'll go 1-0 Newcastle. Got to win at Old Trafford at some point. Last time we won at Old Trafford it'll be coming up to 10 years. It was in December of 2013 where Johan Carabao scored that goal. 10 years since we last won at Old Trafford. Can Newcastle United do it on the 1st of November? Let's hope so. Make sure you leave a like, boys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would be if you could do so. Predict the team out tomorrow, and then the game out on Wednesday. Videos out every day this week. Like normal. Obviously, I will do all the videos now for the Arsenal game, not like the Wolves game. Hectic week. See you in the next one, boys. Have a good one and predict the team out tomorrow.